Coach webinar series. My name is Charles Owen. I have been with Paladin about 8 years, and I am managing business alliances here at Paladin, and I do the webinars and other presentations and seminars and that sort of thing, so it's a lot of fun. Today's topic is about kits. So we are going to learn what a kit is, how to build a kit, and I'm going to show you, first of all, a PowerPoint presentation, then take you into the Paladin system and show you how it's done. This is part 1 of 2. Kits are probably one of the most underutilized features within Paladin, but it's got a lot of power and it can do a lot of, can give you a lot of advantages. So we'll discuss those. So this is being recorded. Everybody is in mute-only mode at this point. At the end of the presentation, we can open that up and invite you to speak if you'd like to ask questions. Otherwise, if you have a question, feel free to type it into the comments section or the chat section below, and Chad will be able to respond to your questions during this presentation. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First slide. We'll talk about what is a kit as part of this agenda, benefits of using the kits, the different types of kits that you can have, how to activate the kit feature. You actually have to turn it on in your software. It doesn't just come on naturally. It is an optional feature that you activate. And then how you want it to respond and perform is also can be triggered as well in the setup feature. Also, how to set up a kit trigger, and what is a trigger, and how to set it up, and then how we build, store, and sell kit items. So starting with what is a kit. Kit is a group of items that can be added to an invoice via a barcode, either scanning a barcode or typing in a SKU, and with that one SKU, it can populate a series of different items in your invoice. It can start with 2, and it can go as many as 1,000 or more if you want. And it's a very handy feature. A trigger item is the item or the SKU that gathers the items together in that kit. So every kit must have a trigger item, and that trigger item can either be a made-up dump SKU that associates several products in that dump SKU as part of that kit, or it can be made up of an existing part number or SKU. However, if you make an existing part number a trigger item, be careful, because you will not be able to sell that item separately without all those items below it. So if you just go in and for example, you want to sell a barbecue, and you want to give away utensils and other devices with that as part of an incentive to generate sales, if you make that barbecue a trigger item, you cannot sell that barbecue without all those items below it. So it's effective and really helpful for sales. It helps motivate and make consistent sales, but there might be some cases where you want to create a trigger item as a dump SKU versus using an existing SKU, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. All right, so what are the benefits of using kits? Well, it allows you to package, to create custom package pricing, right? So you can package certain items and bundle certain items together. Like, for example, when we buy printers, we have to buy a printer, a power supply, the power cord, and other things. And so the manufacturer sells those as one kit. So if you have things that you're selling, you want to sell as a kit, it's perfect for using kits to build that. Next, it promotes upsells. Again, you can put sales in your systems and incorporate multiple products to help sell more product. It also keeps the inventory in sync. So if you have items that you always give away with certain sales, you want to make sure that your inventory is still in sync, your stock on hand is still correct, and that will enable you to do that by incorporating them into a kit, rather than selling the product and giving those other products away without acknowledging the sales of those other existing products. Removes human error. So rather than you typing in the SKUs that come with a certain product every time, all you have to do is remember one SKU, and it populates all those items following that. And it improves customer loyalty as well. Okay, so people come back to your store if they get consistent pricing and pairing of products. So what are the different types of kits? Well, there are many different types of kits. There isn't just one type of kit or two types of kits or three types of kits. The kit function is very sophisticated and has a number of different options that you can set up that have it perform and react a little bit differently. So what I do is I kind of segment them into three different kits. One is those items that are permanently paired kit items. They're always sold together. You know, why sit there and scan all the products if they're all sold together? Why have to remember to, you know, the SKUs or having to go into advanced lookup when you can just scan one item and it goes ahead and proliferates all those other items, puts it in the SKU or the invoice. Okay, so permanently paired items. Second one is multiple item groups where you have many items in the same invoice and you want to just put them in very quickly. For example, if you're selling things like a doghouse kit to build a doghouse, and you want to make sure that you incorporate all these products in the invoice, again, rather than scanning them separately, you can just scan the one item and it puts multiple items in the invoice very quickly and rapidly. And these may not be items that are sold as together all the time, but in a lot of cases they are. So sort of similar with the permanently paired items, but they may not be permanently paired. They may be just that way for a particular promotion. All right, and then special deal kit with free items. So we enable you to put multiple items in a kit that either have the prices or don't have the prices. So a good example of a special deal kit might be a Weber barbecue. So Weber doesn't want you to discount the barbecues, but you can incorporate other sale items for free that come along with that barbecue. So that would be a good place to put that in, where the special deal kit has the free items. So it actually shows on the invoice Weber barbecue, you know, $325, and all the other items that are in there, you know, the cool set of barbecue utensils and whatever else is in there, it shows those as all free. Those all are included. Other special deal kits might also incorporate things like recipes for feed, for example, where you want to have all of the proper portions of the recipe items for a chicken feed, for example, that you manufacture and make up yourself. Well, those you would also want to put whatever the kit trigger is, like the super duper chicken feed, and then following that would be all of the ingredients that make up that chicken feed. Now, in some cases, you may not want to put the ingredients actually on the invoice, and we can hide those features or hide those items from the invoice as indicated on this slide. So how do we activate kits? So if you haven't already activated your kit, you've got to go through this process. So you open up Paladin Point of Sale. On the menu bar at the very, very top, you click on File, then Setup. And in the Paladin configuration window, click on the Class tab, Add a Class. All right, you're going to name it whatever you want to name it, and it's got to have an ID on it. I usually put a class ID that's way outside of all the other ones. I use something in the 100,000 range, just so that there's a number that when you're classifying items or running reports, it doesn't pay attention to that particular trigger item. So create a class, name it. I call it kit trigger, whatever you want to, and then you're done. You just save that. Now you've got a class ID that's assigned specifically to the kits. All right. Next, now you have to go, and now that you've set a class for it, now you've got to go in the Company tab. So you open up, again, File, Setup, and you go into the Company tab in the Paladin configuration window. Now, with Build 9571, which will be coming out shortly, we're breaking this particular feature and we're taking the invoice section of the Company tab and building its own tab. It is now, it's got so many different modifications or different dials and switches and knobs in it. It warrants having its own pane. So going from Company tab to the Invoice tab in the future. But today it's under Company tab. Look on the left-hand side for Invoice, and then select Enable Kit Functionality. There is a checkbox there. Just activate it by clicking the checkbox. Next, it's going to ask you for that class ID that you created above this, right? So you're going to take that class ID and you're going to put it into the box right next to where it says Enable Kit Functionality. And then whether or not you want to hide or enable hiding of kits, that's up to you. And then save that configuration screen and you're done. It's all set up. So now you're ready to use the kit feature. That's how you activate them. So how do we set up a kit trigger? Now we have the class set up for a kit trigger. We have the kits activated and turned on. Now we need to do the next step, which is we need to create an actual kit trigger so that we can go in and create an invoice and save it as a kit. It's that simple. So in the inventory, we can get to inventory by either clicking on the top ribbon on the top, click on the inventory module, or Alt-3 will also bring you there. In the part number box, enter an item, or use advanced lookup, or scan an item. Or you can even add a new trigger item. So that would be a new trigger item would be really the title of that kit, and it may or may not be associated. As I mentioned, the trigger doesn't have to be associated with an actual SKU. It can be a dump SKU. All right, so it can be a non-existent, non-inventory item that is just there to trigger a particular kit. All right, so either one of those two options, either add a new item or use an existing part number. Next, under the General tab, you're going to look down on the Classes pane, and in the middle or the last class, you don't want to necessarily use the first one because that's usually reserved for the suppliers classes. So use the second position or third position class. You'll see when you go into that screen there are 3 different classes and 3 different subclasses you can choose from. Use the middle or last. So outside of that, next, so put that class number in, whatever kit trigger class number that you assigned. And then in the item information pane, in the department list, select the department that applies to those kit items. So if you're creating a dump SKU, you'll want to make sure that that dump SKU resembles the same department as all the items in that particular kit. There's a reason for that madness, and that has to do with maintaining margins properly depending on how you build the kits. It's always a good habit, though. It's not going to break anything if you don't put a department in there, but if you can put a department that matches all the items that you plan on putting in this kit under this kit trigger, it's going to be more favorable. Now, if you use an existing SKU, it's already going to have the department in there, so it's not a problem. Next, click on the Pricing tab, and in the pricing levels in pane 1 and row 1, enter the following information. Enter the sales price of that kit trigger and or item. The price can also be 0 if you're using a dump SKU and you don't want to bundle the price into that one trigger item. It doesn't have to be this complicated. Just just look for 2 things. One, are you going to use an existing SKU? If so, don't touch the price. If you're building a kit trigger that's a dump SKU, determine whether or not that kit trigger is the sole total price for that entire kit, or if not, just put it as 0, and then every item in that kit can reference a price, and that's how you get your total. And you can apply whatever discounts to all those items. I know this might sound a little complex, and it isn't really once we do it, and I'll show you that in a moment here. And then if you're building a kit SKU or a kit trigger that is a dump SKU and has a price in it, then you'll want to change the reference margin for that kit trigger / dump SKU to 100%. And again, it's not going to break it if you don't do this. It's just going to help keep your margins in balance for all those items in the same department. All right, click Save, and we're done. So now, how do we build and store and sell kits? Real simple. Just go into Invoice and Quote. You add the items that you want in your kit, starting with the very first line item, that kit trigger, whether it's the dump SKU or whether it's an actual item itself. Under that, you're going to place all those other products that you want to associate and be a part of that kit. And then you store it as a kit, and that's it. You're done. You'll want to, it's going to create a kit trigger name, but then you can put anything under the memo field if you want to have further explanation of what it is. Now, the name that it creates is going to be the part number for that kit trigger. It's just going to default to that part number. It's a unique part number, and that's going to be the name of the kit. To recall that, all you have to do is scan, type in, or find that particular part number, or go into the stored transactions and find that particular item, click on it, and now it will add those to your invoice. Okay. So we can learn more about kits in Knowledge Base. There's several articles, and then also you'll want to stay tuned for part 2 next week. Now I'm going to go into Paladin right now. I've got a couple of minutes left, and what I'm going to do is show you how this is done. So I've got Paladin up on the screen here. I'm in the Invoice module, and if I go to Recall Transactions, you can see up here we have multiple buckets up here: suspended sale, quote, kits, special orders, on hold, delivery, and so on. I click on kits. All my kits will show up on this screen. All right, so if there's multiple, you might have to scroll down through them. I only have 2. And I'm going to bring up a blower package. I've titled the dump SKU part number to be blow-PKG for blower package. Now all I need to do is recall this by either double-clicking or pressing my F12 or this recall button in the bottom right-hand corner, and now it pulled up my items. Now I created a dump SKU with a 0 price, and then I've also created or added 3 items to this. So I have my blower, I have a leaf rake, heavy-duty leaf rake, and a pop-up garden bag that I am offering with this particular item. Now my kit trigger is always the first item. So in this case, it's the blower. Now I have it at 0 price because I am showing the prices of each of my items. Now what I've got here is I've got the blower in at the same price, $99, but I've added this rake and these pop-up garden bags to bring me to a total of $120 plus tax. So notice my description says blower combo pack $120. I just put that in there so that it's kind of an identifier. Now the reason I created a dump SKU to package this section up is if they want the blower and they don't want the other products, that's fine. They can get that. So I can go ahead and type in my SKU 0039099 for the blower, and it will come up separately. It does not have to be associated with these other items. It's just if they want these other items, they get them at a greater discount. So it lets you be creative where you can sell the product separately, or you can have them in as permanently with items that you sell all the time together. All right, so let me briefly show you the setup that we talked about so you can get some idea how to do that. So under File Setup, we'll bring that up. Now under Company tab is where you're going to go with the current version of software. Under the Company tab on the left-hand side, you're going to look for Invoice. All right, now I have a separate tab because I'm on a later version of the software that you'll be getting shortly, which breaks it all those invoice items out separately. But this is exactly the same information you would see under the company tab invoice section if you don't have this version of software. If you're watching this at a later time, you more than likely have it already broken out as a separate invoice file. So you'll see here it says enable kit functionality. There's my kit class. I made the class 121212, just makes it simple to remember. And then I put enable hiding of kit components. So that's how you set it up. My class is set up under class. So if I go to my very end here, I have my kit set up, and just real simple. I just put the word kit and associated with kit number 121212. That's it. My inventory item, if we were to look at the item that I have, which is blow-package, you'll see this is my dump SKU that I created. And if I go under pricing, you can see I have 0 prices set up for this, but I did put 100% reference margin. And I did also under general, I added my kit class. Now I did this in first position. I am not worried about EDI because this is a play system. So you would more than likely, though, you'd want to put your kit for the 121212 under section or under the second or third class field. But that's all you do to create it as a kit item. All right, now that you've got that, let's go ahead and create this kit. So to create a kit, we just type in the SKU here. Now, because I've already created a kit, it's just going to populate the whole item or the whole list of items here. But I can go ahead and show you by deleting this kit. I'll just go under fall sale. I'll delete it. It's gone. All right. Now, when I go into this and I type blow-pkg, it's only that one single item, and it's a dump SKU at 0 price. Now I add my other products to this, which is 0039099. I'm going to keep that at $99. Then I have another product, 0456285, and I'm going to make this a sale price of $8. And then I've got 0923565, and I'm going to make that, let's see, an even $10. Now, in some cases when you're doing discounts, it's going to prompt you with your manager approval. If you get that, do an F3 and get rid of that message line. It's okay to do that. It's still going to track that, but we don't have to show it on the invoice. Just cleans it up. So if you have 6 items here and you're doing a price that pierces that threshold of margin that you have set, you'll want to get rid of those manager approval lines just because it cleans it up and it looks a lot tighter and a lot better. All right, so now we're at $117, so I need to do something here to bring it to, oh, I have 120, so we're going to bring it up. I'm going to change this to $13. Again, I'm got my manager override, getting rid of that with the F3. Notice the F3 delete line item. I can delete that line item. Now I've created my kit. Now I have to save it as a kit in order to lock it in. So I just do store transaction, kit. Notice it put my name of blow-pkg, and now I can just put in here fall sale bundle. And you can call it whatever you want and say store. All right, it's stored, it's done. I've got my kit. Now if I type blow-pkg, boom, it proliferates all the items down. Now, second one I'll show you real quickly. I've got just a couple of minutes. I'll see that I've created another kit called Weber Barbecue Bundle Kit. Now, this one is a little bit different. I'm using the gas grill as the trigger item, which means I can't sell it without all these other items. So this is a sale to help prompt the cashier as well as the customer that, hey, you know, this comes with a number of features. I'm sure you're going to have signage all over it. So it comes with all these other items, and I do want these other items to show up at 0 price. So I've essentially taken the dollars that were in the cost of all these things, and I've bundled them into that $325 price. So I'm getting a fairly good margin. So if I actually go into my margin analyzer, I can see that my overall invoice, I have $124 of profit, and 38.2% is my total margin on this. It's a good deal, and it's a good deal for the customer too, because they're getting the barbecue as well as all these components basically for the same bundled price. Now, these items, the barbecue brush and so on, they're going to come up as we're giving those away in the inventory for that particular item. But as far as the margin goes, we're going to make up the margin in that particular department on the gas grill itself. All right, so the department margin is going to be in line, but those individual lines that have zero price, it's going to show that we sold them at zero. All right, that's it for today. I just wanted to kind of give you the routine as to what it takes to, what the reason we have kits, why it's here, the benefits of them. We also showed you how to set it up in your system. Next week, we're going to go into more detail about kits, so stay tuned. And are there any questions?
If I may interrupt for a second, yeah. There is one, and this may be something that you're covering next week, but Andrew is wondering what happens if any of the prices of the items in the kit change? Do they update in the kit? Do you have to rebuild the kit from scratch?
Oh, you're blowing my thunder for next week. Actually, in the kit feature, we have a spot here where, notice we have a button here that says Update Retail. This is a new feature. You probably don't have it in the version that you have today, but when this release comes out, which will be shortly, you will have this button. And when you press this button, when you highlight one of the kits and press this Update Retail, it's going to come up and say, well, the old retail is $120. Well, the new price changes that have taken effect in the inventory that influence these particular items is now $127.98. Do you want to save the changes? So I can say yes, no, or preview. And that enables you to, across the board, whether you have 3 items or 500 items in this kit, it will change the prices and bring them in line with what's in your inventory automatically with a single click of a button. Any other questions?
That's all.
Great, guys. Well, next Tuesday, 9 o'clock Pacific time, again, we'll get into a little bit more detail about the different types of kits. We'll get into things like recipes for feed and how to hide items off of the invoice and protect your coveted recipes for your super chicken feed and so on. And we can also talk about, for pharmacy, you might have different standing orders and things where you sell OTC items where they're combined items, and you can offer antibiotic solution with Band-Aids and that sort of thing as well. So we'll talk about all that next week. So if there are no more questions, we'll go ahead and close out here. Thank you all for attending. Really appreciate it. Hope you got something out of this. Take care, guys.